If you're raising funding for any stage of your startup, you must be showing investors that you have traction. The higher the round, the more traction that you need. But especially at an early stage round, the earlier you can show traction to investors, the easier it will be to secure that pre-seed funding. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. I'm going to show you how to get early stage traction for those investors, and we're going to take an AI first approach because right now everything's going AI native. That's what investors are looking for. You can't ignore it. So the more you can use AI and show investors that you are using that to get traction, the easier it's going to be. This is part of my CFXO series, Chief Funding Execution Officer. If you go to the description, there are free resources. You can download everything you need to become your own CFXO for your startup. Before we continue, my name is Ed Keng. If we met before, thanks for dropping by. Nice to see you again. Use the chapter markers as usual to skip to the main part of the video. If we haven't met, I'm a 7-time funded founder with 2 exits, and that's just a fancy way of saying I've failed a bunch of times to your benefit because I use YouTube videos like this and this tool that I created called CFXO to help founders of all stages, but especially early stage founders, raise that early stage funding and avoid some of the catastrophic mistakes that I've made. Not to say you're not going to make mistakes, but I'm going to try to make your life a little bit easier, and that's what this tool, CFXO, is all about. I'm also the Chief Strategy Officer for Startups.com. I've raised over $100 million for my startups, other people's startups, as well as startup funds, and I work with a team that's raised over $750 million for startups, and those startups have gone on to raise billions of dollars, go public for billions of dollars. So we know pretty much what's going on as far as the environment, what the market is saying as far as investors are concerned, and I'm here to help you. If you're watching this and you're already part of Startups.com, thank you so much. If not, check us out. More free resources there. Thank you so much. Do the YouTube thing, like, comment, subscribe. Always helpful. Let's jump in to how to get early stage traction for your investors. Why do startups struggle to get initial traction? I see comments and I get complaints all the time on social media. You send them to me saying, Ed, I need the funding to get traction, but I also need traction to get funding. That's what you're telling me. And the answer is yes. And some founders say it's like the investor wants us to create a chicken without the egg or an egg without a chicken. And the answer again is yes. And over the years, I've boiled this down to a starting foundation. And I see this happen at startups.com. When founders come and they introduce themselves to me, they do not start off with their unique value proposition. They start off with what they're building and they go on and they tell me the story. And that is the reason startups struggle to get that initial traction right out of the gate. But beyond having an MVP to begin with, it's not a clear MVP. It's muddy. People don't understand it, especially the customers. If the customers don't understand, the investors are not going to understand. Also, it's unvalidated. You haven't gone through the time to validate or invalidate your unique value proposition. It sounds really great in the echo chamber in your mind, and you think you're building the next greatest thing since sliced bread, but when others hear it, you're not getting validation on whether that's even something that they're going to respond to. And I see this happen all the time. Founders do not validate their ideas to begin with, and that's the same thing with your unique value proposition. You must validate it. Beyond that, founders don't even know where to start. Where do you start with your unique value proposition? Spoiler alert, that's why you're here, and I'm going to help you with this. And finally, there's no accountability in terms of execution. I see many founders say, yes, having a UVP is a great idea. Thank you, Ed, for your advice, but they don't go out and execute. I'm not saying that's going to be you, because if you're here, you are definitely on board to become your Chief Funding Execution Officer and execute with accountability. We'll do it together. Let's look at the CFXO canvas. And if you're following along, we are on module 2. And this is a standalone module. You learn everything you need to, but also you can go back. I'm going to put a playlist at the end of this video where you can watch the other modules and learn the entire system. And remember, you can download it all right from the description. Go check it out. To recap, by this time, if you're working through the CFXO canvas, you've already done your idea validation deck. That is the first step to explore founder funding fit. That's when you're going to learn the different types of funding as well as figure out what funding works for you, which will help you engage with the potential investors and customers right from day one. Raise funding day one. And like I said, there's a video out there just to walk you through this and show you how. Now we're going to get into creating your unique value proposition. And this is where we're going to follow these steps. Don't worry, I'm going to walk you through step by step. And you're also going to learn how to validate it. And you're going to explore founder problem fit. Through your validation, you're going to be proving founder problem fit, meaning that you are a founder and you understand and you're the best founder to solve the problem. You know the problem inside out. Maybe you have personal experience, or you've gone out and you've done enough customer discovery where you have figured out that you fit the problem. Because so many times, many founders pick problems that they're not a fit for. You may care about them, you might have passion for them, but you're not the best founder to solve that problem, let alone raise money and turn it into a serious startup with multiple rounds of funding for a future exit to allow investors to get an ROI. And to help you validate, we're going to be looking at validation OKRs. I'll explain what those are and how to do them. As a preview, OKRs stand for objectives, key results, and then I add actions, OKRAs, and that's just a way of understanding how we get to systematic execution. So let's break down what a unique value proposition is. Here are the components that go into your UVP. First, you absolutely need to know your target audience. Next, you take your problem statement. And remember, if you've already done your idea validation pitch deck, you've gotten validation, you've gotten feedback on what your problem statement is, so you're ahead here. Next is your solution statement, also taken care of by your idea validation pitch deck. And then you're going to explore differentiation. How are you different from the other solutions out there? Because that's what customers, investors want to hear from you. You'll share your tangible results, what everybody could be expecting as far as the results. You're solving a problem. What is the result? What is the consequence of solving that problem in a positive manner for the customer? Then there's the emotional payoff. Always the emotional payoff. And that's how you're going to hook people in. A lot of people question whether to integrate emotional payoff. You have to understand how the brain is wired. Your brain is wired to send every signal through the emotional part of your brain, the limbic system, first. Even though you may think that you're rationally deciding how to make a buying decision, how to engage with a company, what to do, it's actually being used to justify an emotional response. That's why the more you can get to the emotional core of your customers and not just say, I'm building a doodad, a widget, some type of AI that does these things like a scientist, if you're technically inclined, you're just going to explain the features. You want to invoke emotions in the customer and also the investor if you do it properly, because they'll know that you're doing it for your customers. You want the investors to get an emotional response and go, wow, everybody is going to want to spend money on this. And they can feel it, and they're going to make an emotional decision to invest in your startup, justified and followed up by rational decision making to make sure that they're just dotting their I's and crossing their T's. But make no mistake about it, emotions are absolutely important. And I want you to keep this in mind as you go through the rest of the CFXO process. You're going to take all 6 of these and incorporate them into a 2-liner unique value proposition. This is your centerpiece. It is your anchor and how you are going to go out and get that initial traction. Or think of it like the tip of the arrow that you're going to fire towards your customers to get that traction, and it's going to fly true and it's going to penetrate any resistance. It's going to get right to the target and do what you intended to do. And that is to get people to say, hey, I want to know more, respond to you, no matter what stage your startup is, no matter what state your product is. In your 2-liner UVP, sentence 1 is going to be made of who your startup is for, what problem your startup solves, and how it does it. Very simple, straightforward. It's going to have no inside language, no technical jargon. It's not going to be all buzzy and hypey. It's just going to be very straightforward. But then you're going to follow up with sentence number 2, and it's going to say why you're unique, that's the differentiation, and what the result is. What is the celebration? What is the fairy tale ending that the user can expect when engaging and deciding to make a transactional decision with your startup? This is how you get traction. It goes with how you get customers involved, and the more traction you have, the more you de-risk your startup so that investors are more motivated to invest in you and see you less of a risk and eliminate all the different rational, okay, this could go wrong, that could go wrong. The more traction you show, the more confidence that they are going to have. Let me give you an example of how I created my unique value proposition, my 2-liner, taking an AI-first approach for this very product, CFXO. Here's what it says. CFXO supports early-stage founders struggling with fundraising through a simplified execution system that integrates capital raising with daily operations. Really straightforward. No hype, no buzz. This is what CFXO does. The next line says, proven across over 100 million raised for startups, the CFXO one-page tool locks in accountability, sparks investor interest, and keeps every funding path open. This is the end result. Now, what's great about this, if you do it right, here's a pro tip. You can add it to your pitch deck cover. So I would put at the tagline on my cover for this pitch deck, helping early stage startups raise capital through a simple one-page execution system. All this is the foundation. Like I said, it's the tip of the arrow to fly true and help me get that early stage traction. Let me give you another example. This is a startup that I'm working on that I am helping as their CFXO raise funds. It's a marketing tech company, and here's the AI first example. For brands struggling with high customer acquisition costs, Elevate's transmedia platform blends AI and storytelling to deliver branded content that fans actually engage with across channels. Here's the second line. Unlike traditional ad agencies, we transform fandoms into revenue engines, driving up to 2.9x more revenue and cutting costs by 1.5x. Now, let me make your life really easy. I'm going to put in the description of this video a prompt that you can use to help create unique value propositions. And it's very straightforward. It's going to say, you'll create a 2-sentence unique value proposition for startup sales and marketing. To do this, you'll use the following, and I put all the instructions. It is very straightforward right there. And I'm just going to press enter. And what the AI will do is it will ask me the questions necessary for me to create a unique value proposition. In this case, I'm going to upload a CPG pitch deck from a founder that we've been helping. We did a pitch deck review on the startups.com YouTube channel. And I'm going to press enter, and it's going to give me 3 options that I can work with. It's got the target audience and the problem statement. It's just going to walk me through all the logic and give me some options. Here we go. For women tired of battling frizz, Metalsome delivers salon-level results with a simplified formula that works in real-world humidity and heat. Unlike trendy lifestyle brands, we focus on targeted protection performance, giving you consistently smooth, frizz-free hair that holds up all day. And it's going to explain why it works, give me justification, and here are the other examples. Right now, there is no excuse for you not to be your own marketing expert. With ChatGPT and other AI tools, no matter which LLM that you're going to be using, you have access to the smartest minds. You have access to marketing expertise all in one spot like never before. And that is the foundation for AI first, or it's going to be the foundation, your first step towards vibe marketing, where you're using your coding skills, prompting AI, agentic AI to do your entire marketing stack instead of hiring a whole bunch of experts in different areas. This is the beginning. And I want you to get used to starting off with these basic prompts if you haven't already, because like I said, it's the foundation. You need this to do the rest of this AI first approach and be the best CFXO for your company, because you've got so many other things to do. Now you can be hyper efficient, and you can also be hyper productive, totally enhanced, and do things that other founders could not do. The faster you get on this, the faster you'll be able to get to raising funding or getting enough traction where you don't need funding whatsoever because you're already in revenue. And there are so many examples of startups right now that are growing so fast, and they've got smaller teams and they don't need as much funding, or if they do take in funding, they're getting better valuations, or they're being chased because they're pedigree startups. There's a flight to quality right now, and you are attracting all the investors if you can take an AI first approach and get to traction quicker than anybody else. After you create your UVP, you are going to validate it, and you're using the Okra system. And the Okra system is integrated, it's baked in all the way across CFXO. It starts with your objective. These are your aspirational whys, what you want to accomplish, not a goal, not a task, an aspirational why. You're going to explain what you're aspiring to, and you're going to understand why you do it, because that's going to help you with your motivation. After that, you're going to do key results. What metrics are you measuring to know that you're successfully achieving the objective or not? That's important to define, and that's the OKR system. But I add in action because a lot of times founders just don't know where to go from there. Great, we've strategically established our OKRs, but what do we do? First, you're going to do things manually. Remember, do things that don't scale, but then you're going to learn to delegate. Maybe you have a freelancer or your co-founder team, other members of your startup, employees. I don't know what your configuration is. Whatever you need to do to eventually delegate so you're not doing it all on your own, and then also automate. Create an agent, create some type of automation, and send it to the people you're delegating to and say, use this tool, and you'll become hyper productive, and it'll help you get that traction, and investors are going to be impressed. Here's an example that we've got here. First, your objective might be validate our UVP. And that is just explaining, hey, this is what you're aspiring to. And why are you validating your UVP? Well, it starts you off with traction. Investors want to see it. It becomes a foundational piece for you to continue with the rest of the CFXO system. Then with your key results, you may say X% sign up for our newsletter. I don't know what that percentage could be. Maybe you do a test, establish a baseline. And then next week you say, we want to increase it by 10% by adjusting our unique value proposition, seeing if it actually works. And then your action could be launch landing page with form. You're going to manually do it, or you're going to delegate it to someone on your team, or you're going to use one of these fancy agents and code something for you and say, hey, build me a landing page that asks this, and then plugs into our email newsletter system. This you all have access to. Like I said, no excuse. You can do this all with very simple tools available right now. And as you test out your okras, you're going to log your results with AI and ask it to refine your unique value proposition. This is where founders don't take that next step. Continually work with AI. Say, all right, here are the results from my last campaign. I think we're doing okay, but tell me what we're missing. How could we improve? What do these results tell us to do next? For this to occur, track your data religiously. Do not skimp on this step. Make sure you track your data. No excuses again. A lot of tools out there for you. Then be specific when you're prompting the AI. Be specific in terms of what you want it to do, what insights that you are trying to glean, and tell it to be a top 1% expert in your industry and be critical. LLMs these days tend to give you really flowery language to support your cognitive bias, your confirmation bias. Don't let it do that. Say, be critical as a top 1% expert. And then finally, you're going to share your progress with investors. That's what investors want to see all the time. And they love the journey. They love hearing how you took an AI first approach and you got this insight and you did this test and then you made refinements. Investors are going to need this in terms of your traction metrics for a later stage of CFXO. So do not be afraid to continually update your investors at the idea validation pitch deck stage where you've got them involved with you. They're going to enjoy these updates and get emotionally invested in you. Do yourself a favor. Make a commitment to put all this into action as soon as you end this video. Don't doom scroll. Don't check out your YouTube shorts and keep swiping and watching other videos. Say, I'm going to put this into action. I'm going to download the prompts. I'm going to download all the tools and start working on my UVP right away. Or go check out the other CFXO stuff if you've missed a step, but this is going to help you. Even do something as practice. In fact, make a UVP based on another startup completely. I did this all the time. I did it this morning. I plugged in the Liquid Death website into the ChatGPT agent that I've created for this, and it gave me the UVP. Great practice. Learn to become familiar with these AI tools and do not let yourself off the hook. Be accountable to your execution. That's so important. And this will set you up for the next stage of CFXO. We are going to be doing ideal customer profiles next, and that's going to explore founder market fit, which is a stage of startups, a competence that many founders absolutely skip out on, but it's going to be a secret weapon for you, and it combines with your unique value proposition. And as you can see, we work from one side of the canvas and the other side of the canvas towards the middle, and that's where you're eventually going to get to the point where you can start to share your screener, introduction, pitch deck with investors and start to get funded. As promised, the full playlist for CFXO is going to be on your screen. Click that and scroll through all the videos and catch up if you haven't done so already. Like I said, this is standalone, but there's an entire series to this, so you can start from video number 1. Let me know how you're doing. Share with me your progress. We're going to do this together, and make sure you're subscribed for the CFXO newsletter. Come visit me at startups.com if you want me as your advisor. Let's not waste any more time and jump to it. Become the CFXO your startup needs. Thanks for hanging out in this video. I'll see you in the next one.